And we're live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another GrowVeg Challenge live session. We have here with us a wonderful guest speaker, and as usual, my name is Chinenye, your host for tonight. We have Dr. Samuel Ajayo, who will be talking to us about understanding crop growth stages and care at each phase. Understanding crop growth stages and care at each stage. And like I said, we have Dr. Samuel here with us who will be speaking to us tonight. Dr. Samuel, you're welcome. Kindly introduce yourself to our audience.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ms. Chineye. Just as you have mentioned, I am
Yes, sir.
Dr. Roberto Samuel Ajayo, and I can say that I'm very happy and glad to be here
Yes.
this morning in China, or maybe evening in Nigeria now. So, I want to say hello to everyone listening to us from wherever you are watching from. Uh, you are welcome to the platform, and I can be sure that today we will have interactive session, and at least maybe one or two things we'll be able to take out of this session. Thank you.
Thank, thank you, Dr. Samuel. Thank you so much, sir. So the first question I have for you tonight is on the importance of understanding crop growth stage. So, why is it important for farmers to understand each growth stage when they can just plant and wait?
Oh, thank you very much. Just like humans, plants also require constant attention, protection, as well as specific needs, particularly much like children. So, um, just like you wouldn't feed a newborn baby solid food, a plant and wait approach will only result in a poor outcomes. Why? Because you can actually relate what the end would be if you feed a newborn baby with a solid food. Of course, there is no way that would be, sufficient enough to be able to support the growth and development at that stage. So also the plants. Each stage of their development require specific attention, specific needs, management, and they also have common enemies or pests, associated with, you know, the different stages. Taking, for example, during the vegetative growth stage, uh, the common pests associated with this stage are often leaf eaters, caterpillars, molds, and the like. And then, as a farmer, your attention, your management approach will also be centered around, providing adequate, management to ensure that your plant at this stage, they have maximum protection, particularly the foliar health. So, as they advance or transition to flowering or fruiting stage, the major pests also, targeted or focus on the fruit. So as a farmer too, you want to protect your fruit, you know, uh, so as to protect your yield, at the same time the quality of the produce. So also your management approach will also, be geared towards that. So by knowing what to expect and when, you can watch for these, important signals or signs, and then you are able to provide a prompt response, and then ultimately, saving your profits and they're saving your produce. So it is very, very important. If as a farmer you need to provide a timely care, and if you want to prevent issues, from escalating as soon as you detect them, then you need to understand what the plant needs and what kind of protection your plant needs at different stages of their development.
Thank you, sir, for clarifying the importance of understanding the growth stage of our crops and not just plant and wait. Thank you so much for clearing that. So now let's
Yeah.
talk about yes, the nursery management. Why is proper nursery management such a game changer for youths?
Very, very. Okay, it is indeed a game changer. This is because nursery is the foundation of your farm, and its management become crucial for a successful, vegetable production. Uh, just just as a solid foundation is vital or critical for a house, healthy seedlings are also essential for a good harvest. Without implementing intensive care, you know, you you have a risk of producing weak seedling that would eventually result in poor yield, irrespective of how good your soil or your land is. So efficient nursery management, offers you an opportunity to have full control of the growing condition. Not only that, it gives you an opportunity to protect your seedlings from pests and also from a bad weather or adverse, climatic condition. And it gives you an opportunity to select the best or the healthiest seedling to be transplanted to your field. So ultimately, this would result in faster growth, a better pest resistance, uniform harvest, as well as robust profits. So it is indeed a game changer. If you want a better outcome, then it is very, very essential that you give a proper management, you know, to your seedling at the nursery. Thank you. Oh, sorry,
Thank you so much, sir. Sorry, my network. Yes. So now let's talk about nutrient change. So how do nutrient needs change once crops move past the seedling stage?
Okay. Thank you very much. Just like I said earlier, that the plant needs the care that you give to a plant is much like that of a children. You know, as the children are growing, developing, their diet also changes. So similar to plant or similar to the children, plants, as the moment they advance or transition from seedling stage, their diet will definitely also change. Specifically or initially during the seedling stage, the the seedlings need or require reasonable amount of phosphorus to support their root development, and also some amount of nitrogen in order to to support or the growth of their first leaf. Once they are transplanted to the field, they transition from that stage to a vegetative stage. At this stage, they grow vigorously. The plant pull together all their energy towards building, or developing leaves and stem, to prepare themselves towards reproductive stage. At this stage, nitrogen become crucial and essential. So as their nutrient or diet is also changing, so also the type of fertilizer you apply, you know, also changes. So uh, during the vegetative stage, it is very, very important to apply adequate nitrogen to ensure maximum, growth and development. If nitrogen is lacking at this very critical stage, it is highly possible that your plant will be stunted. And once your plant are unable to get, adequate growth at this stage, you shouldn't expect much at the later stage. So as they approach flowering and fruiting stage, their nutrition also shifts towards phosphorus and potassium. Why? Because these nutrients are very critical, you know, to support flower initiation, fruit establishment, and filling. So it is very, very important that each farmers, as a farmer, we have this knowledge or this basic understanding so as to guide, as to what type of nutrient or fertilizer, will be appropriate. And I would like to add this that for vegetable production, it is important that you use a combination of manure, organic manure, and chemical fertilizer. The chemical fertilizer is very easy to be taken by the plants, but it has little or no influence at all on the soil health, on the soil improvement. So the organic matter on the other hand, or manure on the other hand, while releasing the nutrients slowly to your crop, you know, it also has a critical impact to improve your soil health, for your subsequent production. So it is very important to understand that as plants develop or grow from one stage to another, their nutrient also changes. And then for the sake of management, we should also pay attention to this to ensure appropriate and adequate, specific nutrients are provided at each stages of development. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Samuel. So, talking
You.
about the seedling stage, what are the early signs that plants are under stress at this seedling stage?
Thank you very much. Actually, plants cannot talk. Even though they cannot talk, they have needs. They require protection. So they often communicate through their leaves. And as a farmer, it is very, very important and crucial to understand the language of plants, or basically the cue, the sign that plants gives to indicate their specific need. For example, yellow or discolored leaf often uh, often points to nitrogen deficiency or overwatering. Similarly, wilting or drooping leaves, they often point or usually, yeah, an indication of water stress or a potential root damage. Also, slow or stunted growth, may point, or may signal uh, severe nutrient deficiency or poor nutrient in the soil. They could also, indicate that the roots are also damaged in the sense that the nutrients may be available in the soil, but if the roots are damaged, the efficiency of the root to be able to take up or absorb these nutrients, become impaired. So these kind of cues are important things that a farmer should watch out for. In addition, a leaf spotting, culling or holes often reveal the what we call it, pest or disease problems. So when you notice some of these cues, then you could pay, critical attention to it. And but what matters is that, you know, uh, uh, making a frequent visit to your field would allow you to be able to detect some of these cues earlier or quickly, and then you are able to take a prompt action, to avoid them becoming, more serious. The moment the issue becomes serious, then you require more resources to address them, and at the same time, the damage the some of these pests or diseases or stress may have caused, you know, may have significant impact on the yield at the long run and also your profit. So these important cues are critical, are something that must be watched out for on your field. And a frequent monitoring of your field would allow you to detect some of these problems early enough.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for clarifying that. And
You
then
will-
also talk about nutrients. Which nutrients are most which nutrients are most important during flowering and fruiting?
I think I've said something relating to that earlier. I think I've mentioned something like that, probably in the previous question you asked. As plant transition from vegetative growth to flowering and fruiting, their nutrients requirement also shifts, to phosphorus and potassium. At this stage, minimal amount of nitrogen is required. If you apply too much nitrogen, you you risk your plant to continue to produce more, to vegetative tissues and fewer fruits. At this stage, the attention of the plant is critical towards fruits or seed development. So phosphorus and potassium are very, very critical. Specifically, phosphorus helps, in the to transfer energy that is necessary or required for flower initiation and also for the establishment of fruit. While potassium enhances the fruit size, the taste, the color, the overall qualities. It's helped in regulating water content or what the amount of water in the fruit cells and tissues. It also helps in strengthening the cell wall to ensure that the fruit remain firm, during storage and transport. So at this stage, your management should prioritize phosphorus and potassium as soon as the plants are showing signs of flowering. You know, this is to ensure that you are able to maximize your input to produce sufficient amount of fruits. Not just only that, you also want to ensure that you maintain the quality of your product. So these two nutrients are very, very important. And so they should be prioritized in your fertilizer application. So they determine the type and form of fertilizer that should be used at this stage.
Thank you, doctor. Thank you so much for also re-emphasizing on that. Now, talking about the seedling stage, looking at pests and diseases which are very rampant. What are the pests or disease that are most common at this stage, and how would you advise our viewers or registered participants to be able to tackle them?
Okay, thank you very much. If I may ask, you said pests or diseases that are most common at this stage, at flowering and
As it,
fruiting stage,
yes, sir.
right? If I may correct, because that has been what that was our last discussion, right? Did you get my question?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so at flowering and fruiting stage, the prime target of the pest or disease, you know, uh, is the fruit. So the common pests at this stage are fruit borers and fruit flies. And during this stage, high humidity or rainy weather condition can also favor the development of certain devastating disease that may influence, fruits production, or that may reduce the amount of energy that is required for fruits development, such as powdery mildew and the fruit rot. So if these pests and diseases, are left unmanaged, they could significantly diminish your yield as well as the quality of your fruit. So to combat this challenge, or to address or to tackle these uh, pest and disease challenges, it is better to adopt integrated uh, pest management approach that combines different strategy together for an holistic protective measures. So initially, these high PM strategy, that is integrative pest management strategy, you know, uh, focuses on prevention, which involve using resistant variety, practicing feed hygiene by removing dead, plants or materials from your field, and then practicing crop rotation, and at the same time ensuring appropriate or optimal amount of plant spacing to allow for adequate air circulation. So this way you can reduce, the development of diseases or infestation of pests. In addition to preventive measures, it is very, very important to also monitor and detect pest or disease earlier on your field. So frequent inspection of your field would allow you to identify or detect problem early, and then you are able to provide a prompt or appropriate, controlled measure before this problem become escalated. Furthermore, as also part of the component of the IPM, you can also adopt low-cost sustainable control methods, such as the use of sticky traps. You can also handpick larger pests manually to reduce their population. And also, you can also apply biopesticides, such as the use of neem extract, this dongoyaro crop or plant rather. You can use the extracts as a biopesticide to control some of these pests and diseases. Uh, Lastly, although personally I wouldn't advise that, and that is the use of chemical or synthetic pesticides such as a fungicide. This should be a last resort. That is, if at all you need to use this chemical, and that you can. It is advisable only when you have tried all these, different kind of method that I've highlighted earlier, and you found that some of the methods are proving effective. Then you can, use synthetic chemicals, because for the sake of the environmental health, at the same time for the associated risk that that may be related to human health, I wouldn't advise the use of synthetic chemicals. But even if you are to use it, you must ensure that you wait, for appropriate withholding period before you harvest your produce, and send them out for market. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Samuel. Thank you so much. Once again, I want to welcome everyone who has joined us. You're all welcome. I will quickly move to the comment section to recognize our viewers. So we have Dr. Abidemi. Thank you so much. Kudos to Dr. Sam. Thank you for the encouragement, sir. He also says, good to see you as well, sir. Thank you so much. We have ABS Amos. Good evening, Doctor. Good evening, Chief. Thank you. Good evening to you as well. And thank you for taking all the time to join us this evening. Then we also have Mr. Tunde. Mr. Tunde says, so good to have Dr. Ajayo here today. Thank you, Mr. Tunde. We have Toby Loba. Toby Loba, thank you for joining us this evening. You're very much welcome. Thank you for the encouragement, Dr. Bidemi, as well. And then we have Ayofumi Bello. You haven't missed much. Yes, because you can always go back to watch the playback video on Leverage Fresh Limited Facebook page and on Dr. Bidemi's Facebook page. So you haven't missed, if I'm going to put it that way. Then we have Joy Uket. Good evening to you as well. So good evening, Doctor. Thank you for joining us this evening. And we have Joseph Anthony. Good evening to you as well. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate the time you all have taken to join us this evening. And to those I may have not mentioned your name, you are very much welcome. We're happy to have you here. And if you're not here, we have our special guest speaker, Dr. Samuel Ajayo, who is talking to us about understanding crop growth stages and care at each phase. And we're going to be learning so much from him, and you'll be learning much more as long as you've registered for the GrowVeg Challenge 4.0. And I'm sure we all here can't wait to hear more from Dr. Samuel tonight. Thank you once again, Dr. Samuel. Thank you for the time you've given us to ask you these questions. Thank you,
You're
sir.
welcome.
So the next question I have for you is on what are the simple steps farmers can take to improve pollination and fruit sets?
Okay. Thank you very much. Pollination is important, you know, aspects of uh, plants development, particularly the fruiting vegetables. Without these, there wouldn't be any fruits, there wouldn't be seed. This is basic means through which the plant is able to reproduce, regenerate themselves, and not only that, the process through which they are able to feed us as humans, because we rely basically on the fruits produced from these vegetables, and improving this pollination, although it's a natural mechanisms, you know, whether you interfere with the plant system or not, they will, they will reproduce themselves. Pollination will occur. But now you want to improve the efficiency and you want to improve the fruit set. So how? What are the basic or major steps towards this? One of the major steps is to encourage the presence of the natural pollinators, bees, butterflies, and other pollinating insects. And for you to do this, what do they need? These insects. They need sweet flowers, scented flowers. So one major step is to plant bright flowers around your vegetables. These flowers will serve as a beacon to the pollinators. They will attract them, they will bring them to your field, and then they will not just stop at the flower you planted, they will also, help to increase, the pollination activity on your vegetables. In addition to that, while you are trying to encourage the presence of these pollinators, you should not also, you know, implement a management system that will reduce their population. Like I said earlier, your plant also, just like they are struggling to survive, to live, there are also some other, pests, harmful pests in their surroundings. These pests are also, attracted by the sweet flower scent. And then when the moment you notice them, you want to to eliminate them. Like I said earlier, I've mentioned some basic methods or control system you can adopt to control them. Use of chemical is also, a critical steps. So if you will need to spray chemicals at all on your feed, on your vegetable feed, you should avoid spraying the chemicals when the pollinators are also active. So it is best to spray chemical if only you need to spray them at all. It is best to spray them very early in the morning or late in the evening when pollinators, bees, and other beneficial insects are not active. For some crops too, uh, like tomatoes, you can also, uh, you know, tap or shake the flower stem to release pollen. This way, in the process, some of the pollens will drop on the flower, and then you are able to. If you also there are also specialized brushes, simple soft brushes that you can also use to you know to disperse pollen. This way you can improve pollination. But one other important thing that is very, very critical for uh, fruit set or fruit establishment is to ensure that your vegetables are in good state of management. Ensure that you provide adequate nutrients, you provide adequate water, you give them appropriate management. Ensure you remove weeds, their overall well-being should be well managed. This is because stressed plant would most time they drop their flowers, and once the flowers is dropped, so pollination will become somewhat impossible, or the efficiency may be reduced. So uh, planting bright flowers around your field, don't spray chemicals while the pollinators are active, and then you can uh, engage in the use of brushes, or you shake the flowers to ensure the pollens are released. Then you also ensure that your plants are healthy. So as much as you're able to do this, you should have a maximum production or reasonable amount of efficient level of pollination. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Samuel.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir. And I apologize for the network glitch.
Oh, it's okay. The
The next question I have for you is
thing that
on um, knowing the right time to harvest. So, how, in your own terms, how can a farmer know the right time to harvest different vegetables?
yeah. This is harvesting time is a critical or important aspect of vegetable production, and it varies, for different vegetables. For instance, for fruiting vegetables like tomatoes and pepper, it is essential to look for changes in the color of the fruits, as well as how firm the fruit is. Specifically, it is advisable to harvest tomato or pepper when they are fully sized and they start to change color from green to yellow or to red. At the moment where the color, changes, indicator is there, then they are ready for harvesting. For okra, it is very, very important to pick them when the fruits are still young and tender. Typically 4 to 6 days after flowering. At this stage, the fruit snaps very easily. If it become hard and woody or difficult to snap, that means you have waited too long to harvest them. And for leafy greens like amaranth or ugu, yeah, it is better to harvest them when their leaves are fully developed, just before they flower. So these critical signs, are very, very important to signal when your vegetables should be harvested. And it is important that you harvest them at the optimal time. Why? Because if you harvest them too early, you are likely going to sacrifice the size of your fruit, particularly for fruiting vegetables. And if you harvest too late, you are likely going to compromise the quality of your produce. So it is essential to pay attention to you know some of these important signals that the plants are ready for harvesting. I'm sure much of these will be discussed during the training. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Um, Before we move to the next question, I will also go back to the comment section. We have Mr. Tunde says, "Well said, sir." Then we have Favor. Favor says, "I'm just new here." Yes, you're welcome. Favor, you're welcome. Thank you for joining. And then he also says, Favor says, "Planning to start December." Yes, you're very much welcome. And then we are open to having you being part of the GrowVeg challenge. Then we have Dr. Bidemi. He says, "I am getting value." Thank you so much, Dr. Sam. Thank you so much, Dr. Bidemi, for that. So we have a question from Chike. So Chike is asking, what are the disadvantages of open field bell pepper farming?
Yeah, the disadvantages of open field bell pepper farming. When you refer to open field, it means you allow natural pollination to take place. And then, because this is not a strict pollination, the one of the major disadvantages is the subsequent generation. When you plant them, when you plant the seed again, you are possibly going to have, non-uniform, plants on your field. Why? Because the pollination source may be different. Moreover, yield, the yield is not also may not be also be sufficiently high. when you compare to uh, a controlled pollination. That means when you use materials generated from cross pollination, artificial cross pollination. So one of the major disadvantage is that you may have non-uniform plant materials, and that the yield will also be relatively low when you compare to what we call to uh, a, a system that generates seed from a controlled pollination. Uh, Chineye, you seem to be offline again. Hello, Miss Chineye.
Apologies, everyone. I'm sorry for the network. Thank you. Okay. So, Dr. Samuel, the next question I have for you is about reducing post-harvest losses. So, what steps can reduce post-harvest losses and improve quality?
One of the major uh, factor that contribute to post-harvest losses or that can diminish quality is poor handling. And this can be managed with simple steps and simple care. Like we rightly said earlier, harvesting at the right time is very, very paramount. Harvesting your material when they are optimally ready for harvesting is very, very critical to maintain the quality and the yield of your produce. In addition to that, harvest your material at the coolest time of the day, particularly very early in the morning or late in the evening. This is very important or critical to ensure that you are able to reduce stress, maybe heat, specifically heat stress on your produce. Moreover, when you want to harvest, it is important that you use appropriate tools. For example, use a clean and sharp knife. The knife should be sufficiently sharp enough to reduce damage on your produce. Moreover, you after harvesting, you know, you should adopt or use or opt for a container that will also not, subject your harvested produce to stress. For example, it is better to use a well ventilated crate instead of rough sack. Rough sack can, you know, can trap heat, which can subject your harvested produce to heat stress and wetting. And then before you know it, the quality is gone. So using appropriate tools, appropriate containers, to carry your produce is very, very important. And after harvesting, it is very, very important to sort and grade your materials according to their sizes and quality. You sort them, you grade them by size and quality, and you implement appropriate quality control by separating the good ones from the bad ones. Never mix them together. Why? Because the quality produce will fetch you more money. And so it is better separate them. And also, after harvesting your produce, it is important that you store them or keep them in a cool environment. You can probably, if possible, you can make arrangement for a temporary shade during the course of your harvesting. So while you're harvesting your material, those that have been harvested can be keep under, you know, can be you can keep them under shade, and you can also implement a low cost cooling system, just like the use of, this is very common in Nigeria, the use of what do you call it, clay pot cooler. So you can adopt some of these strategies to ensure that you handle your produce appropriately, and then you're able to to reduce your losses and improve the quality, and for maintaining your uh, what do you call it, your profit.
Thank you, Dr. Sam. Thank you so much. So I have a final question for you, and it's more like an advice to the participants. So, what's your advice to participants in the 4.0 as they prepare to care for their crops through these stages? What's your advice to the new participants for the GrowVeg Challenge
Okay.
4.0?
Yeah. I want to say that farming is a partnership with nature. Although you can control climate or weather, but you can learn to work with it. So you, it is very, very important that you regularly visit your field. Why? Because uh, if you visit your field regularly, you intimate yourself more with your crop. You learn more about your crop. You know some of the challenges that your crop is going through, and then you are able to, execute appropriate management of time, and then you are able to save yourself from big problem. See farming as a journey along with your crop. Prepare well, uh, fertilize and water appropriately, and then protect your crop. Identify and detect issues on time, and you know uh, uh, take quick and appropriate action. And not only that, stay focused, handle your produce with care, ensure to keep record of your successes and failures. Where necessary, do not hesitate to ask questions, particularly for those that knows better. And if you find something interesting, be ready and be happy to share knowledge. Uh, Ultimately, healthy crops we can be equated to healthy income and healthy community. So stay focused, interact well with your crop, and you get the best out of it. Thank you.
Thank you for that wonderful advice, Dr. Samuel. We really appreciate the time that you've taken to speak with us and our audience tonight. And we don't take this for granted. And I'm sure all our viewers tonight have learned one thing or the other. I want to even connect with you more through this live session. Thank you so much, Dr. Samuel. It was a
It's my
pleasure having you,
pleasure.
sir.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And to all our viewers, we've come to the end of the live session. Thank you all for joining. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your contributions, your comments. Um, any questions that you have, or if you're just joining, you can go to the Leverage Fresh Limited Facebook page or Dr. Bidimi's Facebook page to watch the playback of this session. And you also get to see other contents that we've put out there if you want to learn more about the River Challenge for those who are still yet decided to register. And for those who have registered, I'm sure you also can't wait to be part of the GrowVeg Challenge happening on the 15th of September. Thank you once again for joining this live session. We'll see you again next in our live session that will be posted on our pages. Thank you all and bye everyone.
Bye bye.